Sean McFeely here with your weekly Acorn of Truth, coming to you from John chapter 18, starting at verse 10. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant and cut off the right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Then, going to verse 26, one of the servants of the high priest, being a relative of the man whose ear Peter cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Peter then denied it again, and immediately a rooster crowed. Peter, like you and I, gets completely freaked out when his world gets turned upside down. And he resorts to violence when Jesus had told him he didn't want violence as a part of his kingdom. And so we see an ear is cut off. You can imagine how close Peter was to probably killing this guy if he was able to cut his ear off. In Luke, the great physician, he tells us that Jesus healed that ear and put it back in place, which is a pretty cool thing for Jesus to do. And then we see what happens when we're freaked out and we go into shame and hiding, where Peter is confronted by a relative of this servant whose ear he cut off, and he's feeling guilty. And he resorts to lying and denying the truth. And don't we all do that when we're freaked out? We go into shame for what we did when we did something we knew Jesus didn't want us to do, and then we try and hide it in our shame. And so there is a way out, and that's what I want to encourage you today. Jesus is in control. That's the first way out. If Peter had realized that Jesus was in control, he wouldn't have drawn his sword and resorted to violence. The second thing is to always tell the truth. It really is the best way, and the way that God encourages us in His Word to approach it when we are feeling shameful about something we did, is to confess it and to make it right. And then Jesus will restore us like He did Peter at the end of the chapter. And John's the only one that records this. John was like filling in all the blanks from the other Gospels because he wrote this Gospel later. And so he's filling in a lot of the details that he thinks would be important. And so he shares the poignant story of Peter being restored by Jesus by asking him 3 times, do you love me? And you can read that in chapter 21, starting at verse 15. I'm not going to take the time today, but I encourage you to go to chapter 21 in John and take a look at it. It's really touching. So remember, don't give in to fear when things seem out of control. Trust that Jesus has it in control. Don't give in to shame and tell lies. Tell the truth, own what you did, and make it right. That's Jesus' way, and that's the way He would want us to walk.